All right, here we are, Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. Let's do this. All right, I've read this book twice in the past, and I just read it again to do these study guides. So I'm excited for this. This is going to be good. This is going to be amazing. And yeah. So the first time I read this book, I was a very immature trader, and I didn't exactly agree with everything. I really didn't. Some things I'm like, yeah, okay, this psychology stuff, whatever, dude. You know, like if you find the winning strategy, your psychology gets fixed because you win all the time. Okay, those of you who have been trading, you understand though that's not true. Okay, and those that are new to trading, please don't adopt that mindset. It will take you down a long, dark path of losing and pain until you're ready to accept that there is a huge, huge portion of psychology mixed into day trading. Okay, so let's go into this. Chapter one. I do want to say that, especially now that I've gone through this book and I feel that I am a more mature trader. How mature? I'm not sure if you've watched my outtake videos. I have a huge immaturity part of me, a childlike. Anyway, I don't even know why I post those videos. But anyway, so just being funny. But this book really like spoke to me. It really like pointed out a lot of things, and I agree with pretty much all of this book at this point in my trading career. And so I want to take you through chapter by chapter and discuss some of those things. If I do disagree with something and I feel like I can, teach Mark Douglas something, I'll share that. All right. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay, so chapter one, The Road to Success, Fundamental Truths About Trading. Here we go. All right, Mark Douglas opens Trading in the Zone by addressing the disconnect between the potential of trading and the reality of most traders face. Despite unlimited opportunity, most fail because they approach it with the wrong mindset. This guy, okay, I used to do that. I still do sometimes, but for the most part, I do bring the right mindset to trading, and it has led me to profitability. Yay! All right. Most fail because they approach trading in the wrong mindset, often applying beliefs and behaviors from other areas of their life that do not work in the market. Okay. Douglas introduces the concept that successful trading is less about analysis, okay, and more about thinking in probabilities, detaching emotionally, and adopting the mindset of a consistently profitable trader. I'm not one who really like, I understand the logic of detaching from the market emotionally, but I don't feel that you can fully. And I feel that you need to come to a place where you can recognize your own emotions. All right. When I feel fear, hatred of being wrong or FOMO settle in, and I feel those feelings, it's not that I can just detach from them emotionally. I recognize them, and then I put logic in place that can, that I can replace a behavior that's coming from those feelings with a logical behavior that I know will play out probabilistically over time. Okay. So I really believe like, okay, I'm feeling the FOMO. I really didn't get an entry. Should I just get in anyway? And I look at my R&R and I'm like, no, I shouldn't. So I take that FOMO feeling and then I bring it back to the or to the logic of, is this a good trade with good R&R? No, it's not. Sometimes the market goes without me. Sometimes we hit my level and we wick back so hard and fast, I don't get time. And I have to logically think, I need to just let that go. That's terrible R&R instead of letting FOMO settle in and then I just jump in anyway. All right. So he's talking about it is less about analysis and more about thinking probabilities, detaching emotionally, and adopting the mindset of a consistently profitable trader. So we're going to dive into a lot of that. Okay. So key themes and concepts. Okay. The trader's mental roadblock. Most traders believe that success comes from the perfect system. I could spend a whole video on the perfect system. And, maybe one day I really should, because I was one of those guys that spent like 3+ years looking for that golden goose to just poop out golden eggs so I could print money from the market. And I felt I could find that perfect system with all these confluences and indicators, and boom, print money. You know, I would feel like I'd feel like the government. You know, just like rolling out some fresh, crisp paper on the printer and just print money. Okay, that's not it's not a reality, guys. Okay, in my opinion. Um, so stop hunting the perfect system. And you know, professional level traders say the same thing. There is no perfect system. Okay. All right. So psychology rollbacks: fear of loss, fear of being wrong, greed, the need to be right. That's one of my biggest. I have an ego problem when it comes to the market. Create destructive behaviors like cutting winners, letting losers run. And a lot of times, you know, when I do one-on-ones with people, um, that's one of the questions I start to ask. If we got rid of your FOMO, would you be profitable? If we got rid of your fear in the market and you taking profit early because you can't handle a W going to an L, but that fear never lets you get those big W's that cover your losses, right? Well, let's talk about that. You know, like if we cut that, would you be profitable? You know, and a lot of times when we really dig into it, most people would, right? So, anyway, we're going to talk about that. Okay, traders must shift from seeking certainty to embracing uncertainty as a part of a game. That's why I tell people, and I catch flack for this, guys, in the communities that I consult in, and you know the DMs that I have and the one-on-ones. Sometimes I get pushback, dude. It's not gambling, it's investing. It's like, you know, I used to be there, okay, but when you're pulling a slot machine lever like this, when you enter the trade and there's a win with dopamine and then there's a loss with dopamine and then there's like the emotions that there is a sense of gambling to this. And if you don't learn and train to be a shark, the house is going to win. Okay, and you're not the house. All right. All right. So I catch flack for that, but let's at least recognize the behavior and the dopamine that comes from winning and losing. And if you trade it for any amount of time, you know what I mean. All right. And you got to be willing to move forward with uncertainty. You got to be willing to be like, let me watch this trade. Is it going to be a W or an L? And let me have as close as possible to the same reaction for a W as I do an L. You know, just kind of cool, calm, and collected. Okay. It's a hard thing to do, but it's a good thing to work towards. Okay. Think differently than the masses. Okay. Obviously, the market is a collective of people making decisions. So if you want to be the one profiteering, guess what? You got to think different than the mass. That's why I trade liquidity. Okay. It's not some magic thing, but it really does help me to think about it that way, right? All right, to win consistently, traders must learn to think differently than the crowd. Since the crowd often acts emotionally, creating predictable patterns of failure, success comes from understanding that every trade is just one of many probabilities and not a personal verdict of skill. This is a thing that really affected me very much in the beginning, right? Is every trade would define who I am as a trader. And I learned to step back and go, I'm going to look at the past 50 to 100 trades to judge how I'm doing. I'm not going to look at the week. I'm not even going to look at the month. Okay, I may look at the week and the month, but not on that kind of lens. I am not judging myself and my skill based on 10 trades, 20 trades. I want to do 50 to 100. Okay. All right. So, illusion of control. Many traders try to control the outcome of every trade, which is impossible. Okay. There is no trailing method that's perfect. There just is no way to have enough confluences that you know for 100% this trade will play out. If it was, I would have made 10 trades this year and I would have turned $100 into like 10 million. And I wouldn't be making videos. I hope I still would actually, because I really do care about people's trading careers. All right. But yeah, it would be that easy. I would just wait for my 50 confluences, take my 10 trades for the year, and just bankroll. But that's not what it is. Okay. The market is unpredictable in the short term, and every setup has a random distribution of winners and losers. Okay. You can go to winrate.com. You can put in a win rate and you can put in a 1 to 3, 1 to 2 risk to reward with this much in it per trade and blah blah blah, and then you can look probabilistically you can look at the outcome of your trading strategy. And I do that, and I've done that. And that's why I risk a certain amount of money based on how much drawdown is in my account, because I know it's very unlikely, but I could get 8 to 10 losses in a row. It could happen probabilistically. It could happen. I don't think I'm saying that right, but you guys get what I'm saying. All right. Probabilistically. Okay. I know that that can happen. So that way I'm not over trading. Okay. That way I have the right amount of risk per my drawdown. So that way when I hit a losing streak, I can take it. Okay. And a lot of times I add 1 or 2 extra losses on there because if I take 8 losses, I promise you, I'm going to get a little emotional. Okay. I'm just not to that point yet where I'm like, oh, who cares? 12 losses, no big deal. Okay. I would feel that. All right. Now, if I take a revenge trade or two, that's one thing. But I really work on keeping myself off tilt and stuff. Okay. So there we go. So probabilistically thinking, okay? You need to think in terms of probability. When you study successful gamblers, which I have done, you see that they think in terms of probability. Okay? They don't think in terms of win and loss. They think of probability. All right? Every trade has both a random and predictable component. Like a casino, okay? Let's just be real. A trader must focus on having a statistical edge, not the result of any single trade. All right, that's how you get FOMO. That's how you, not really FOMO. Oh well, actually, yeah, FOMO. If you take a loss, you revenge trade. You know, you might have a fear of taking that. You know, whatever. There's all kinds of stuff. You miss out on not winning that trade. There's all kinds of things that can go inside your brain to mess you up. All right. You know, when you take a loss, just take it. Just be like, okay, that one didn't work out. Let me wait for my next trade and then wait for your system to play out again. All right. A losing trade doesn't mean the strategy is broken. It is simply a part of the distribution of outcomes. Okay. There you go. All right. The key to consistency, the shift to consistency begins when traders stop evaluating their self worth based on a single trade. I know that's a repeat, but I'm telling you, it's worth having in there twice. It really, truly is. Okay. I know so many people get so upset. They'll send me a DM or I'll be in a one on one session and they're like, what did I do wrong with this trade? And I'm like, nothing, looks great. Why was it a loser? Because it was. Because your strategy is not 100% win rate. So this one lost. No big deal. Okay. It's easy to say yes, and it is harder to apply that. But as you grow and mature into a profitable trader, that is a mindset that needs to be adopted. Okay. So they must detach their outcome, their ego from their outcomes instead of focusing on their execution, their plan with discipline. Okay. I would work on attaching your ego kind of to your execution and be like, did I did I execute correctly? Yeah, look at that. I executed correctly. Pat on the back for me, gold star on my chart, whatever, right? But really, you need to set your ego aside, right? You really do. And that's something I had to work on. I'm not a very prideful, greedful person, but when it comes to day trading, dude, I don't know what I got going on, but it gets me all riled up when I lose, and my ego gets bruised when I take a loss that I think is going to be a winner. Okay. So that's something I work on. Okay, professional traders accept losses are a part of the game. It is just like a casino accepts that some gamblers will win in the short term. Okay, I'm going to be making a video coming up, and I don't know when, but I already have some of it outlined, and I'm working on some stuff, and it's how to become the house. Okay, because if we can become the house, we're the winners. All right, practical lessons from chapter 1. Let's get into this. Accept that trading is a probability game. Okay. If you lose and you get upset, I'm telling you, you got to start working on this mindset. Start adopting this mindset that it's a probability game, and really give yourself like a 50-50 win rate, you know? Some people, I have a guy, legit, he was one of my mentors. He closes like 35 to 45% win rate, and he kills it. Okay. I had a hard time with his strategy, which he taught me, because it's a low win rate. So it bruised my ego too much. So I had a very hard time with that win rate strategy. I found a strategy that does close higher, but it wasn't quite as profitable. And these are things that you work through in the long run. And then now my current strategy, which is probably the most simple strategy I've ever used. It's fantastic, um, and it's about 50-50. And I do I make more now than I ever have. Even though I close less trades in the green, I make more money. Go figure. I don't know. Things I had to grow into, things I had to learn the hard way. Um, so your goal is to follow your edge over a series of trades and not to be right every time. Okay. If you lose a trade, you lose a trade. Done. Moving on. Detach your ego from the trades. This is hard to do, but I recommend you practice. Right. A losing trade doesn't define you. You like it's not like, did I win today or did I lose today? It's, did I play out my edge correctly? Did I take my strategy and did I play it correctly? Yes, that's a W. Oh, but you lost money. So what? I did what I was supposed to do. I didn't FOMO. I didn't revenge trade. I didn't over risk. I followed my strategy. I applied my edge correctly. That's a W. Let's go. All right. One of my biggest W's recently was I went on tilt, like full blown tilt, man. And I was entering the last, like, I'm going to risk everything. This account's going to die or live. It's going to live or die right now. Okay. And I said, I simply said to myself, am I being the trader I want to be? And I told myself, no, I'm not. So I backed off and I said, I'm not. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. That account lived, and that account gave me a couple more payouts because I did that. Now, I hurt that account and I lost and I left some table and I threw some money back on the table, gave it back to the house and said, here, I don't want this money by my behavior. But, I counted that day as a W because I was able to pull myself out of it. Okay. So stop seeking certainty. You're never going to find it. You can't predict every move of the market. I don't care. I know there's some people out there that like flat out just like, oh, watch me read the market. Watch me, watch me. Dude, in my opinion, stay away from those people. You can't predict. That's the whole point. Okay. Focus instead on managing risk, letting probabilities work in your favor. Okay. And yes, I'm the one reading this. I'm the one who agrees with this. I'm the one who's like, yay, listen to me. But this is information I've got from actual, successful, professional day traders, mentors, Mark Douglas, you know, Tom Hogard, all these people that are like, that blow me away. Okay. So you're not just listening to me. I'm just the one presenting it to you right now on YouTube. Okay. Take their word for it. You don't have to take mine. Okay. So here we go. Develop emotional neutrality. Fear and overconfidence distorts judgment. 100%. 100%. You need to treat each trade as another probability and not a personal challenge or a validation. Again, I know that's in here again, but I'm telling you, I see this in myself. I see this in people that I mentor, and I see this, in discords. I see this in, conversations. I see this everywhere. Okay. We all want to become ballers of the market so that way we can flex and feel good and have our ego stroked. But that's not why we're here. If you're here to pet your ego and to feel good, it's not going to work out for you, in my opinion. Okay. And I've been there. And that's how I think I can say I know that that's a problem, is because I didn't realize it was a problem with me for a long time. But that's why I really don't post a ton of wins. And that's why I really don't post like, oh, look, I got 2,000% on this trade, or, I made this much, or, look at this, kind of, I try to post things for educational content, but I am very careful with my ego because, if I were to live trade and everyone stroked me and was like, oh, look at you, you're amazing, you're a magic man. I don't know, man. I think my head would swell and it would be a problem. So let's go over some reflection questions. Do I evaluate my trading performance based on single trade results or a series of trades? And I recommend as many series of trades as you can, please. Okay. And journal, when you journal, your FOMOs and your trades that were not a part of your trading strategy, yes, you need to have a journal that has everything in it because that is you collectively as a trader. Wow, I'm shaking my desk like crazy. Um, but you need to have a journal that is strictly only your strategy, right? So that way you can see the difference of you and your strategy and then your strategy. All right. That's my recommendation. Do I have an edge? Am I following it consistently? How often do I fear of loss? How long do I let fear of loss or the desire to be right to influence my decisions? I don't like answering that one. All right. Let's move on. How do I react to uncertainty? Do I fight it or accept it as a part of the process? I do try to visualize winning the trade and losing the trade, and I try to visualize myself being okay with both. And that really helps me. It really does. It allows me to think more on a I could lose this instead of being like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a good one. Watch this. Watch me. Watch me now. Watch me. Like, and I get all worked up, and then it just hits my stop loss, and now I'm like, and then I get emotion, and then I react emotionally, and then maybe I enter a short in the opposite direction or whatever, right? To make up for it. Anyway, here we go. Here's some probability exercises. Okay. I did this years ago. I actually want to do it again. I want to flip a coin 50 times and record the results. Notice how individual flips are random, but patterns emerge over many flips. This mirrors trading outcomes, especially me because I'm like a 50-50 trader right now. I do move up to like 60 once in a while, but most of the time I'm 50-50, and I do really well with that. And so I'm good with it. Right? So take that exercise serious. Trade log reflection. Um, for your last 10 trades, write down whether you followed your rules regardless of outcome. I think that's more important than anything. Aim for 100% rule adherence, not 100% winners. Okay? Did you abide by your rules? Did you adhere to your rules? Did you follow your rules? I don't care about your P&L. Okay? That will come in the long run. Okay? Ego detachment. Get your ego out of here. All right. Start framing every trade as a business decision and not a personal test of skill. Okay. I cannot emphasize this so much. This so much. I don't even know if that's a word. It's so much. I don't know. Anyway, just being goofy. You are not every trade you take is not a personal test of skill. Okay. Just simply write down what you did. Not even what you did right and wrong. Did you follow your trading strategy? If you're still in development stages of your trading strategy, that's different. Okay. You shouldn't be trading. If you are developing a strategy, you should be doing some back testing and things like that, which I'm not a huge fan of back testing, but you need to hunt down a strategy. If you need a strategy, just reach out to me. I'll give you 3, 4 you can choose from that work. Okay. And then I see I don't trade them all, obviously. I can't handle that many different decisions going on at the same time, but I know people that trade them and I know it works for them. So I know it can work for you if you work on everything else that goes along with a winning strategy, hence your mindset and stuff we're talking about here. Okay. All right. So, um, not a personal test of skill. Please let that sink in. Okay. The skill you want to acquire and the skill you want to test yourself on is, can you follow a strategy? Can you think in terms of probability, right? And can you judge yourself over 50 or 100 trades or something instead of 3, 1, right? Okay. When you lose, did I execute correctly rather than what is wrong with me, right? What is wrong with my strategy? Why didn't I win this? Those are not the things you want to say to yourself. Did I execute correctly? Yes, I did. Gold star for you. Good job. Okay, seriously. I know I'm kind of being a little silly, but seriously, take that kind of stuff to heart. Okay. All right. Chapter 1, takeaway quote. Here we go. Let's go. The best traders have evolved to the point where they believe without a shred of a doubt or internal conflict that anything can happen. Um, I can say I've done this. I have this mindset most of the time. Okay. Um, Sometimes I feel the doubt sneak in and I'm like, whoa, 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 stop. Right. Um, but just accept that anything can happen. And it's not We'll see if I edit that out. It's not a personal challenge to you, right? It is not a judgment on you. Anything can happen. This trade can win or lose, and it's not a reflection on what kind of trader you are. So there we go. Chapter 2 coming. I just wanted to make sure. All right. I hope this video has been helpful. I enjoy making these videos so much. It is such, I mean, there's a reason why I DM people, I talk to people, I help people with strategies, and I go through this kind of stuff with people, and I do one-on-ones, and you know, um, because it helps me so much. Ever since I started doing that, I started becoming a much better trader. So share this video out to people. Do the whole drop likes and all that stuff. Let's get this information out. Um, and because this is what's got to happen. This is how you win. All right. So, anyways, I hope it's been great, and I wish you the best in your trading. And I will see you guys in the next video.